Welcome to the Lakers Nation news feed powered by LakersNation.com and CLNS Media. My name is Trevor Lane, senior writer for LakersNation.com. Today's show is brought to you by Greats. Go to Greats.com and use the promo code LakersNation at checkout for a phenomenal pair of shoes. I get compliments on mine all the time. Extremely high quality. Love this company. Greats.com, Greats.com. Now, your Los Angeles Lakers picked up a big win over the Phoenix Suns. It was their second game of the season, their first win. They had a rough outing against the Los Angeles Clippers in their 2017-2018 season debut. Patrick Beverley gave Lonzo Ball all kinds of problems. Not an issue the following night in Phoenix. The Lakers were able to get the better of the Suns 132-130, and a number of guys had bounce-back games. Now, this is critical. This is so big for the Lakers that they're able to build this kind of confidence. I was chatting a little bit with Rob Pelinka before the game, and he was a bit nervous about what was going to happen here. He was hoping that the Lakers would really show fight and would bounce back from a tough performance against the Clippers, and he got his wish. Everything worked out for the Lakers. Even though it was far from a perfect performance, I think we saw exactly what we needed to see from them. And let's start with Lonzo Ball. Man, what a night from him. 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. He missed out on a triple-double at the very end. He threw a pass to Brandon Ingram, who fired a three, rimmed out, and it robbed Lonzo of getting the triple-double. But still, he was impressive all night long. Lonzo was attacking the basket, especially in the fourth quarter. He actually put up 27 shots, which you wouldn't expect out of Lonzo Ball because he's such a pass-first guy. But still, he took what the defense gave him. And that's exactly what Luke Walton talked about after the game. He talked about how Lonzo does a really good job of just reading what's there. And the Lakers were doing a few things that were creating openings in the middle, and that was allowing Lonzo to really get to the rim. In fact, the entire team came out from the opening tip. Within the first few possessions, I commented that the Lakers were clearly set on getting to the rim because everyone was attacking the basket and not settling for jumpers, including Brandon Ingram. Now, Brandon Ingram is the other guy who had a major bounce-back performance. He didn't put up a whole lot of stats across the board as far as rebounds, assists, steals, and all that. He did have 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, but 25 points on 9 of 14 shooting and 3 of 4 from 3. We will absolutely take that. Great performance from Brandon Ingram. He did foul out of the game, 6 fouls. Right at the very end, and he did have a few defensive issues, but overall this was a night and day performance from Ingram. That's actually a career high for him in points, and definitely a great sign for him. He was going up against TJ Warren of the Phoenix Suns, who he had a big game himself. TJ Warren led the Suns in scoring. Actually, Eric Bledsoe led the Suns in scoring, but TJ Warren was leading for most of the way. He had finished with 24 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals. So TJ Warren had a really big night against Ingram, but still, both of these guys were getting out in transition and running, and so it was really good to see, especially Brandon Ingram, have this bounce-back performance because we had seen so many comments online about people talking trash on Ingram. People were saying that maybe we should trade him, maybe we should have kept Russell and traded away Brandon Ingram. This was a great response from a very young player. You got to remember, Ingram is still just 20 years old. Brook Lopez had a great stat line, 11 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 19 points. He seemed to be hitting his shots when they really mattered, and he was doing a really good job sliding over defensively too. We saw him a number of times step over when a perimeter player got beat and then go straight up and contest the shot. Picked up a few fouls that way, but still, he was that anchor on defense that the Lakers have so badly needed for so long right now. Corey Brewer was definitely the inspirational player of the game. He was all over the place. In fact, Luke Walton made it a point in the second half that whenever Devin Booker was not on the floor for the Phoenix Suns, Luke pulled Brewer immediately. The second Booker stood up, Brewer was right back in. Brewer was in there solely to try to shut down Devin Booker, and he did a really, really great job. Was getting his hands into passing lanes, getting a lot of deflections and steals, and just creating havoc. I mean, Booker was getting frustrated with the defense that Brewer was playing. We saw the little scuffle there in the third quarter where Larry Nance Jr. got pushed by Devin Booker because Booker committed a frustration foul on Corey Brewer. Nance gave Booker a little bump on the way by. Booker took exception to it, and we had a little scuffle. Nothing too major, nothing like you'll see in some other sports. Wasn't a full-on fight or anything like that, but still. And you know what, Luke Walton after the game even commented, said he was totally fine with what happened there. Said it's good that teammates are coming over and helping each other out. Glad that 3 guys ran to help Corey Brewer up off the court when Devin Booker fouled him. Ended up being a flagrant 1 foul. And so he was happy to see that the Lakers were supporting each other and helping each other out. And that's something that we hadn't seen consistently, especially in game 1 against the Clippers. So to see that kind of a turnaround was phenomenal. Now, one thing that we got to talk about here is Larry Nance Jr., Kyle Kuzma, and Julius Randle. That whole issue with the power forward spot, because this could be headed towards a problem here. Here's what's going on. Larry Nance Jr. started again, and you know what? He did a great job before the game. We were talking to Luke Walton, and Luke Walton said that what he loves about Larry Nance Jr., I'm paraphrasing here, but he said what he loves about Larry Nance Jr. is that Larry Nance plays like a bench player in the starting lineup. And he's not talking about the quality of his play. What he said is that most guys coming off the bench have to do all the little things. They have to make sure they get all the details right in order to stay on the floor. And Larry Nance takes that kind of mentality into the starting lineup. Then he does all the little things that add up to a lot by the end of the game. And we certainly saw that. I mean, Larry Nance was everywhere, all over the floor. He had a really nice steal and then dove to the court to get the ball and then threw a great pass to Brook Lopez for the dunk in the third quarter. That was a big part of building momentum for the Lakers when they pulled ahead and got a lead. So it's hard to imagine a scenario where Larry Nance Jr. would get pulled from his starting spot. But then Julius Randle came in and didn't play well. He picked up 3 fouls in about 11 seconds. Both Lakers Nation reporters, Serena Winters and I, were just astounded at how quickly he picked up fouls. And so Luke went to Kuzma, and it turned out great. In fact, Kyle Kuzma ended up playing 28 minutes, whereas Julius Randle only played 13. In fact, he didn't even hit a full 13. It was less than 13. So Julius Randle didn't get very many minutes. Kyle Kuzma did. Kyle Kuzma finished with 15 points, was 6 of 7 from the field, and made a number of key plays down the stretch. And you remember earlier, I mentioned that the Lakers were doing some things that were opening up the middle for Lonzo. Now, Luke talked about this. He said that the Suns had to stay home on the Lakers shooters. Now, he didn't reference him specifically. He didn't specifically say Kyle Kuzma, but Luke did say that the Suns were having to stay at home on the Lakers shooters, and that was allowing Lonzo to get into the paint and get to the basket, which we saw time and time again in the fourth quarter during crunch time. And what was happening was, because it wasn't Julius Randle out there, because it wasn't Larry Nance Jr., because it was Kyle Kuzma at the 4, along with Brook Lopez, I believe, for most of the time at the 5, the Suns had been completely stretched out. They had to stick with Kuzma, because if you leave him, he's going to hit that 3. So Lonzo was able to get to the rim because the Suns were not leaving Kuzma, were not leaving those other shooters. If that was Nance on the floor at the time, if that was Randle on the floor at the time, then you're not going to get that same result. You're going to have guys sliding over, stepping in front of Lonzo, because they would know that they could leave those non-shooters like Nance and Randle. So this is going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch, because it appears that Larry Nance Jr. has beaten out Julius Randle for the starting power forward spot, which isn't great for Randle because he is a free agent next summer, but still, he could make an impact anyway, even off the bench. If he comes in and just destroys the other team's second unit night after night, well, that could be great for Randle, right? He could actually increase his payday by just playing really well off the bench and being a sixth man and all that. But still, that's got to be a little bit of a slight to Randle. I'm sure he's not thrilled with losing his starting job. And the way Larry Nance Jr. was playing last night, and with what Luke Walton was saying about how he loves the way Nance does the little things, that makes it sound like Nance is kind of cementing that role. If Walton just saw the benefits of playing Kyle Kuzma, he basically ran out the starting lineup and Kyle Kuzma. That was the group that he had on the floor for much of the fourth quarter. He had Brook Lopez. He had Corey Brewer, who started in place of Luol Deng. Luol Deng was actually inactive after having a really poor night against the Clippers. he had Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball plus Kyle Kuzma out there. If Luke Walton is suddenly seeing the benefit of running Kyle Kuzma out, then we could see Kyle Kuzma taking away now Julius Randle's minutes. Now, is this going to happen every game? Probably not, because we may see Kuzma a bit more at the 3. Things are going to shift around and everything. It's just one game. But still, something clicked there. Luke did see the kind of spacing that he can get when he runs Kuzma out there with his starting unit, and it's even going to be more pronounced when Kentavious Caldwell-Pope gets back next game because he is a little bit better outside shooter than Corey Brewer is. So if you have an extra shooter on the floor, that's just going to create even more space in addition to having Kuzma out there. I don't know. It's a tough spot for Julius Randle. I talked to him after the game. I asked him specifically, I said, Julius, what can you do to get more minutes? He said, it's not my decision. Not exactly the response I was expecting to hear. He said, it's not my decision. So he did go on, of course, he softened that a bit. He said that he was extremely happy with the team win and that, that's the most important thing, regardless of who plays, is that the team gets the victory. So, of course, that's good to hear and everything. But Julius Randle can't be happy with this. He's got a lot on the line. He worked his butt off all summer to get into fantastic shape, and now he's not getting minutes, and it's a contract year for him. So hopefully this is not a situation that causes a problem down the road. And again, of course, extremely small sample size on this. We may see Julius Randle get more minutes next game when he's going up against the sheer bulk that the New Orleans Pelicans can offer in DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. So wouldn't be surprised to see Randle bounce back and get more minutes next game, but it is something to keep an eye on to see if Kuzma does continue to chip in to those power forward minutes and if it's at the expense of Julius Randle, because that's the way it's looking right now. So the Lakers do pick up the win. Of course, the disclaimer, everybody who is a Lakers naysayer says, oh, it was against the Phoenix Suns. Yes, the Suns are a bad team. There's no question about that. But you know what? Let's celebrate a Lakers win for a change, right? They looked terrible in their opening night debut against the Clippers. So bouncing back on the road, getting a win. I know they almost lost it at the end. Phoenix almost got a couple free throws to tie it. They had the opportunity. TJ Warren missed them, and the Lakers were able to walk away with the victory. But still, you know what? Even against a bad Suns team, I'll take it because of the growth that we saw in these players, because of the difference that we saw in Brandon Ingram, in Lonzo Ball. This is the type of performance that fans have been hoping to see for a long time. So definitely something to build on, something positive, and something that hopefully they can use rolling into Sunday's game against the New Orleans Pelicans. That's going to wrap things up for today. We will be back with a full-length podcast on Monday. That'll be the Lakers Nation podcast. We will record after the New Orleans Pelicans game Sunday night, so we'll have all kinds of analysis from that game, and we're going to wrap up the first 3 games of the season. We're going to talk about everything. So make sure you check that out. Find our show, both the Lakers Nation podcast and the Lakers Nation newsfeed. You can find on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, the CLNS Media app, and of course, LakersNation.com. Once again, my name is Trevor Lane, and this has been the Lakers Nation newsfeed.